No, only frog is there. See, सिर्फ frog ही है इस पूरे पीरियड. Okie dokie. Okay, just give me 2 minutes, then I'm starting. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So to start with this particular chapter, okay, but do you remember anything from that tissue chapter? जो मतलब different kinds of tissues that are there in the body.
No, ma'am. I guess हम लोग को deleted था ये chapter. पूरा chapter it was deleted for us.
Yeah, I'm feeling so bad, because बहुत important topic है यार. मतलब everything comes from this particular, chapter. It's like epithelial tissue is there, muscular tissue is there. चलो, I understand that muscular tissue हटा दिया because there is a whole chapter only locomotion and movement. But talking about this anyway, अब छोड़ो जो भी है. Okay, starting with this structural organization in animals. Okay. Frogs belong to which phylum? Hmm? पहले थोड़ा सा सवाल हो जाए. Frogs belong to which phylum? Hmm? Phylum?
याद नहीं आ रहा ma'am.
Phylum Chordata, first of all, है ना?
हाँ.
Chordata में भी class Vertebrata. Vertebrata के अंदर सब class Tetrapoda. Tetrapoda means 4 legs, right? And उसमें it belongs to amphibia, है ना? Frog is an amphibian. How many chambered heart do the frogs have? कितना chambered heart होता है इनका?
3.
Very good. 3. 3 में क्या क्या chambers पाए जाएंगे? How many and what chambers? ऐसे in general heart में क्या क्या chambers होते हैं? Hmm?
Ventricles,
Hmm.
aorta, arterial,
Nahin,
veins.
I'm talking about chambers, not the vessels. Talking about the chambers, there are only 2 chambers in the heart, auricles and ventricles. है ना? In general. Now, depending upon the organism, for example, this is fishes. They have 2 chambered heart, right? So, in those 2 chambers, they have 1 auricle and 1 ventricle. Talking about the 3 chambered heart, तो इसमें 2 auricles and 1 common ventricle होता है. And then 4 chambered hearts is 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. ऊपर में auricle रहेगा. Suppose if I draw the diagram of the heart in the form of a box, so it starts, the upper 2 chambers will be the auricle, the lower 2 ones will be the ventricle. Clear? Now frogs, they have 3 chambered hearts, so theirs is like this. They have 1 common ventricle. Okay. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Chalo. Moving forward, we know that a group of cells is known as a tissue. Now, a tissue is there in our body so that it can, like, since our body and the body of animals, now they are big, bigger in size.
Ma'am,
Yes?
sorry disturb करने के लिए. Ma'am,
Hmm.
auricles are also known as atria, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Atria, auricle, same thing. Hmm. So it's like you don't have to be sorry. तुम कुछ भी पूछ सकती हो. It's all right. Okay. Now moving forward. Yes, I was saying that why is the tissue formed in our body? Like we understand that a group of cells is known as tissue, but why? See, what happens is that cells are smaller and they cannot perform a lot of function all at once. So in order to perform many functions, they have to divide the functions, right? जब बहुत काम होता है in a group, so we divide it, right? तुम ये कर लो, तुम ये कर लो, तुम ये कर लो. Same thing happens for the tissue as well. The division of labor happens so that they can perform specific functions. So we call that as the tissue. Now you may be surprised to know that all complex animal consist of only 4 basic types of tissues. These tissues are organized in specific proportion and pattern to form an organ, because a group of tissue forms an organ, such as the stomach, the lung, heart, and kidney. When 2 or more organs perform a common function by their physical or chemical interaction, they together form organ system. Now, we know that a group of organs make the organ system. अब क्या organ systems then can there be? So there can be digestive system, respiratory system, reproductive system, excretory system. Variety of systems can be there in the body of an organism. So we are seeing that from cell we got tissue, from tissues we got organs, and from organs we got organ system. Now each of them have their own function to perform, and that is the division of labor. And why is the division of labor necessary? It is necessary so that the body can survive, for our survival. Clear? समझ में आ गया कि why there is this organization in our body? What is the need for that particular organization?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now moving forward. See, even though this chapter has actually deleted the whole tissue part, but they're saying that इन्होंने यहाँ पे एक लाइन लिखी है. Hmm. You may be surprised to know that all complex animals consist of only 4 basic types of tissues, but they have not mentioned it. So I'm just telling you so that you'll know. So epithelial, epithelial tissue is there. Then there is connective tissue. Then there is muscular tissue. And lastly, there is the nervous tissue. These are the 4 basic types of tissues that are found in the body of almost all the organisms. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Moving forward, the organ and organ system. The basic tissues, as you have learned in earlier classes, no, we didn't, organize to form organs, which in turn associate to form organ systems in multicellular organisms. Such an organization is essential for more efficient and better coordinated activities of millions of cells constituting an organism. Each organ in our body is made up of 4. Oh, they have mentioned. Good. 4 types of tissues. For example, our heart consists of the 4 types of tissues: epithelial, connective, muscular, and neural. We also notice after some careful study that the complexity in organ and organ systems displays certain discernible trend. This discernible trend is called evolutionary trend. In this chapter, you are being introduced to morphology and anatomy of the frog. What is morphology?
The outer characteristics.
Very good. The external and related to all the external appearances and everything. What is anatomy?
The internal features.
The internal. Very good. Okay. So we're going to study both of these features for the frog. Now, what is the scientific name of frog? We just did this chapter, previous class. What is the scientific name of frog? Come on, quickly.
Anura?
Hmm? Say it again. Yes, Iram, you're right. Rana tigrina. Okay, that is the scientific name for frog. All right, so moving forward, morphology refers to, I think her internet is not. Morphology refers to the study of form, externally visible features. In case of plants or microbes, the term morphology precisely means only this. In case of animals, this refers to the external appearance of the organs or parts of the body. The word anatomy conventionally is used for the study of morphology of internal organs of in the animals. Okay, now talking about frogs, we know that since frogs are amphibians, they belong to the class Amphibia of the phylum Chordata, and they can live on land and in fresh water because they have a dual, like they're amphibian. Amphibian means that they can live on land and water both. Now, the most common species of frog found in India is Rana tigrina. Now, they do not have constant body temperature. Their body temperature varies with the temperature of the environment. Such animals are known as cold-blooded or poikilotherms. Poikilotherms. So they cannot regulate their body temperature. Just like how us humans, like in the winter time, we shiver, and in the summertime, we sweat. So this is our body's mechanism to actually combat the temperature differences or temperature variation of the environment. Whenever there is like a lot of heat in the environment, we tend to sweat. Some people sweat a lot, some people sweat a little bit. So that sweating mechanism is a way that we use to regulate our body temperature, because sweating is equal to cooling of the body. So we are warm blooded. All those organisms that can actually regulate their temperatures, they are known as warm blooded, but those that cannot are known as cold blooded or poikilotherms. What is the scientific name for warm blooded? Scientific name for warm blooded?
Homeothermus.
Homeotherms. Very good. All right. You might have also noticed changes in the color of the frogs while they are in grasses and on dry land. They have the ability to change the color to hide them from their enemies. And this property, this phenomenon is known as camouflage. They can actually morph with the environment so that no one can recognize them. This protective coloration is known as mimicry. They mimic of this, like they mimic the stuff that they are sitting on or standing on or whatever. Now, you may also know that frogs are not seen during peak summer and winter. During this period, they take shelter in deep burrows to protect them from extreme heat and cold. This is known as summer sleep estivation and winter sleep hibernation. So, the frog also does this. And yes, it's true. We can't see frogs in very like summer season also, nor in the winter. When do we see frogs? Yes, rainy season. Mostly because wherever they live, it gets filled up with water, so they come out. So, yeah. Now, moving forward, talking about the morphology, they're asking, have you ever touched the skin of a frog? Have you? Anyone?
No.
Good. Now, the skin is smooth and slippery due to the presence of mucus. Now, mucus is there so that a lot of body water and all is not lost because it cannot regulate its body temperature. Also, the skin is always maintained in a moist condition. The color of dorsal side of the body is generally olive green with dark irregular spot. Dorsal is backside. So the backside of the body is olive green and it has irregular spots. On the ventral side, the skin is uniformly pale yellow. The frog never drinks water but absorbs it through the skin. Body of a frog is divisible into head and trunk. Okay, it does not have a neck. It has a head and the trunk part. A neck and the tail are absent. Above the mouth, a pair of nostrils is present. Eyes are bulged and covered by a nictitating membrane that protects them while in water. Sort of, see, nictitating membrane is a membrane sort of like acting like an eyelid, but it is not actually an eyelid. Okay. Now, on the either side of eyes, a membranous tympanum, ear, receives sound signals. Tympanum is the scientific name for eardrum. Now, the forelimbs and hind limbs help in swimming, walking, leaping, and burrowing. The hind limb end in 5 digits, like the fingers, this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them are there in the hind limb. And they are larger and muscular than forelimbs that end in 4 digits. Feet have webbed digits. Like the feet are sort of like, how do you draw a webbed feet? It is webbed. Okay, like this. So the webbed feet is there so that it can swim. Now, that help in swimming. Frogs exhibit sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism means you can easily distinguish between the male and the female. Now, male frogs can be distinguished by the presence of sound producing vocal sac and also a copulatory pad on the first digit of the forelimb. So these are these are the ways by which you can actually distinguish between a male and a female frog. So what are the things that we can use to distinguish them? Sound producing vocal sacs are there, and they have a copulatory pad on the first digit of the forelimb, meaning the first finger of the forelimb. And all of these things will obviously 100% be absent in the female frogs. Now talking about the anatomy, the internal structures, the organ systems. Now the body cavity of frogs accommodate different organ systems such as digestive system, circulatory system, respiratory system, nervous system, excretory system, and reproductive system with well-developed structures and functions. The digestive system consists of alimentary canal and digestive glands. Two things are there in the digestive system. Alimentary canal is there and the digestive glands are there. Alimentary canal is short because frogs are carnivores and hence the length of the intestine is reduced. See, the length of the intestine will be much higher or longer in the case of herbivores because they eat plants and plants have cellulose and cellulose takes a longer time to get digested. So that is the reason why herbivores would have a longer intestine as compared to the carnivores. Now the mouth opens into the buccal cavity that leads to the esophagus, that is the food pipe. But before food pipe, there is pharynx. So the buccal cavity opens into the pharynx and then the pharynx opens into the esophagus. Now, esophagus is a short tube that opens into the stomach, which in turn continues as the intestine, rectum, and finally opens outside by the cloaca. This is how the alimentary canal starts and ends. Now, the liver secretes bile that is stored in the gallbladder. Pancreas, another digestive gland, produces pancreatic juice containing digestive enzyme. Food is captured by the bilobe tongue. Bilobe means it's sort of like this, right? You might have seen frogs eating insects. So yeah, they have a bilobe tongue. Digestion of food takes place by the action of hydrochloric acid and gastric juices secreted from the walls of the stomach. Partially digested food, which is known as chyme, like from the stomach, is passed on to the small intestine, the first part of small intestine, that is the duodenum. Now, the duodenum receives bile from the gallbladder. See, always remember that the bile is formed by the liver, but it is not secreted by the liver. It is secreted by the gallbladder because gallbladder stores the bile. Apart from that, pancreatic juices from the pancreas through a common duct, bile duct, meaning uh, the duct from the gallbladder, like this is gallbladder, so the duct is coming from the gallbladder, and then this is pancreas, so the duct is coming from pancreas, and then they meet and form a common bile duct.
Ma'am,
Hmm?
ma'am, you said that bile juice is secreted by gallbladder,
Hmm.
right? Is it so? Because like I remember in junior classes we've been always taught that bile juice is secreted by liver.
See, it is actually synthesized and secreted by the liver only. Okay, but during the digestion process, where does the bile come from? It comes from the gallbladder, because gallbladder has two functions. It stores the bile and it concentrates the bile. So ultimately the bile is coming from the gallbladder. Getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
It is made and synthesized by the liver 100%, but the gallbladder stores it and concentrates it. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the function of bile? So bile emulsifies fat. What is the meaning of emulsify?
Breaks down.
Breaks down. The larger fat globules, for example, if these were the fat globules, now the bile acts on it and makes it like this. The reason being that it will be digested faster. So emulsification means breaking down. And pancreatic juices digest carbohydrates and proteins. Final digestion takes place in the intestine. Digested food is absorbed by numerous finger-like folds in the inner wall of small intestine that are known as villi and microvilli. Now, up until now, everything that you saw here, it is almost, you can say, resembling to the human digestive system, isn't it? All of the things are there. We also have all of these things, but we don't have a bilobe tongue. That's creepy. Moving forward, the undigested solid waste moves into the rectum and passes out through cloaca. Now, one thing to understand about frogs is that, not frogs, but the whole class amphibia in general, it's that they do not have separate openings for, like, you can say this cloaca is the only opening which is there for excretion purpose also and digestion purpose, this thing reproduction purpose also. It is one single opening. Now, frogs respire on land and in the water by two different methods. In water, skin acts as aquatic respiratory organ, and the respiration by skin is known as cutaneous respiration. Dissolved oxygen in the water is exchanged through the skin by diffusion. On land, the buccal cavity, skin, and lungs act as the respiratory organs. The respiration by lungs is known as pulmonary respiration. The lungs are a pair of elongated, pink-colored sac-like structures present in the upper part of the trunk region, that is the upper part of the thorax area. Air enters through the nostril into the buccal cavity and then goes to the lung. Now, during the estivation and hibernation, gaseous exchange takes place through the skin. Why? Why do you think so? Why does it take place through the skin?
Because it is moist.
Because it is?
The skin is quite moist.
I can't hear you, dear.
Ma'am, the skin is moist.
The skin is moist, but the main thing is that during estivation and hibernation, it is the winter and summer sleep. So during that point of time, whichever organism is undergoing this thing, the winter sleep, the summer sleep, they decrease their body activity so as to minimize the loss of energy. That is why they respire through the skin, because using the nostril will actually require them to work a little bit more. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
The vascular system of frog is well developed, closed type. Closed type means what is the difference between closed and open type of vascular system or circulatory system?
In closed circulatory system, the blood is flowing inside the veins, and yeah,
Not just veins, but the blood vessels.
yeah, the blood vessels.
Very good. So the frogs, they have a closed type of circulatory system. They also have a lymphatic system in which the lymph flows, tissue fluid. The blood vascular system involves heart, blood, blood vessels. Now the lymphatic system consists of lymph channels and lymph nodes. Heart is a muscular structure situated in the upper part of body cavity. It has three chambers, two atria or two auricles and one ventricle. And it is covered, wait, what? And it is and it is covered by a membrane called as pericardium. The membrane of the heart is pericardium. A triangular structure called sinus venosus joins the right atrium. It receives blood through major veins called vena cava. This one second. Okay. Yeah, it receives blood through major veins called vena cava. The ventricle opens into a sac-like conus arteriosus, just like how we have this thing, aorta and everything. They have the other blood vessels. On the ventral side of the heart, they have conus arteriosus. This is the name of the vessel. Now, the blood from the heart is carried to all the parts of the body by the arteries, meaning the arterial system. The veins collect blood from different parts of body to the heart and form the venous system. Special venous connection between liver and intestine, as well as the kidney and lower parts of the body, are present in the frog. They have a proper venous system, meaning veins and arteries system is there in their body. Now, the system of the veins is like veins between the liver and the intestine. This whole integrated structure, it is known as hepatic portal system. And the ones between the like the veins between the kidney and the lower part is known as the renal portal system. See, hepatic, the word hepatic refers to liver, renal refers to everything related to the kidney. Now, blood is composed of plasma and cells. The blood cells are RBC, that is red blood cell, or erythrocytes. WBC, that is white blood cells, or leukocytes, and platelets. RBCs are nucleated. Human RBCs are enucleated. We do not have a nucleus in our RBC, but the frogs, they do. They do have a nucleus in their RBC. And it contains red colored pigment, which is known as hemoglobin. The lymph is different from the blood. It lacks few proteins and RBC. The blood carries nutrients, gases, and water to the respective sites during the circulation. The circulation of blood is achieved by pumping action of the muscular heart. The heart pumps, because of which the blood is circulated through the entire body. Now, one more thing. Okay, can you tell me, like, they have a characteristic wherein they have nucleated RBC. The RBC contains the nucleus, and humans do not. Can you tell me what is the significance? Like, do you know the significance? Hmm? What is the significance of the this thing, nucleus being present or not?
Uh, Basically, it enables to, store more oxygen.
Hmm. Exactly. It increases the carrying capacity. Very good. Now, the elimination of nitrogenous waste is carried out by a well-developed excretory system. The excretory system consists of a pair of kidneys, ureters, cloaca, and urinary bladder. These are compact, dark red, and bean-like structures situated a little posteriorly in the body cavity on both sides of vertebral column. The kidneys are. This is the location. Each kidney is composed of several structural and functional units called as uriniferous tubules or nephrons. Two ureters emerge from the kidneys in the male frogs. The ureters act as the urinogenital duct. Urinogenital. What does it mean? Urinogenital. Why are two words there? Hmm?
Uh, it actually means that the duct opens to the genitals as well as it.
You're right, you're close. See, this urinogenital, it refers to the fact that this one duct is responsible for the carrying of the urine as well as the secretions from the reproductive tract. That is why urinogenital, meaning it is a common duct. It doesn't mean that both of the things will be released at one time, but it is a common duct. And both, like this duct, opens into the cloaca. Now, in
Ma'am,
female,
this would be a characteristic feature of only male frogs, right? Because probably in humans we study that the urinogenital duct only male consists.
but see, the urinogenital duct, which opens into cloaca, this is the characteristic feature of male frogs, but not male humans, because us humans do not have cloaca, right? But human males, they do have a common passage, that is the penis, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, only the cloaca is making them very different actually. Now, in females, the ureters and oviduct open separately in the cloaca. They have a separate opening, but only one cloaca. Okay. Now, the thin-walled urinary bladder is present ventral to the rectum, which also opens in the cloaca. See, so cloaca is that one common opening which will serve as the opening for every kind of the system that is responsible with the release of something. The frog excretes urea and thus is a ureotelic or animal. Any organism that excretes urea is ureotelic. Any organism that excretes uric acid is uricotelic. And every organism that excretes ammonia is ammonotelic. Okay, so this is ureotelic. Us humans are also ureotelic. Excretory wastes are carried by blood into the kidney where it is separated and excreted. The system for control and excretory system, digestive system, and respiratory system. Any doubts up till now?
No, ma'am.
Everything is clear?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good,
Yes, ma'am.
good. Now, let's talk about the control and coordination. Now, the system for control and coordination is highly evolved in the frog. It includes both neural system and endocrine system. Neural is the one that is, whole neurons and the set of nerves. Endocrine is the one that is regulated by the hormones. Now, the chemical coordination of various organs of the body is achieved by hormones, which are secreted by the endocrine glands. The prominent endocrine glands that found in frog are pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, pineal, pancreatic islets, adrenals, and gonads. The nervous system is organized into a central nervous system, which consists of the brain and the spinal cord. It consists of a peripheral nervous system, which has the two nerves. Peripheral nervous system means PNS. Central nervous PNS. Central nervous system is CNS. So the PNS consists of the nerves that comes from the brain. They are the cranial nerves. The nerves that come from the spinal cord, they are the spinal nerves. And then they have ANS, that is autonomic nervous system. Us humans also have that. So the parasympathetic and the sympathetic system comes under the ANS. Now there are 10 pairs of cranial nerves arising from the brain. 10 pairs. Brain is enclosed in a bony structure called as the brain box or the cranium. The brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain includes olfactory lobes, paired cerebral hemispheres, and unpaired diencephalon. These are the parts which are there in the forebrain. Just like how we have cerebrum, same way they have these structures. Now the midbrain is characterized by a pair of optic lobes. See, olfactory and optic. Optic is referring to the sight, the vision, eyes. What is olfactory referring to?
Smell.
Fat
Very.
glands.
No, smell. Olfaction. Okay, smell. And what does gustatory refers to?
Gut.
No, it's actually taste. Gustatory is for taste. Okay. Now, hindbrain consists of the cerebellum and medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata passes out through the foramen magnum and continues into spinal cord, which is enclosed in the vertebral column. Since amphibians are vertebrates, obviously they would have a vertebral column present in their body. Now, frog has different types of sense organs, namely organs of touch, that is sensory papillae, organs of taste, that is taste buds present, smell, nasal epithelium, vision, they have eyes, and for hearing, they have tympanum and internal ears. Out of these, eyes and internal ears are well organized structures, and the rest are cellular aggregations, meaning they are not properly formed into organs. So they are like cellular aggregation around nerve endings. Eyes in a frog are a pair of spherical structures situated in the orbit in the skull. These are simple eyes, possessing only one unit. External ear is absent in them, but tympanum can be seen. It is the eardrum. The ear is an organ of hearing as well as balancing. This equilibrium for us also. Frogs have well-organized male and female reproductive systems. Male reproductive organ consists of a pair of yellowish ovoid testes. Ovoid means oval testes, which are found adhered, meaning attached or stuck stuck to the upper part of the kidneys by a double fold of peritoneum called as mesorchium. It is like a fold of skin is there on the kidney, and that actually there is. This is the female one. Yeah, see this. The testes are present here, and they are present on top of the kidneys because of this fold of skin, peritoneum, and that is known as mesorchium. Now, vasa efferentia are 10 to 12 in number that arise from the testes. They enter the kidneys on their side and open into the Bidder's canal. See, the reproductive system of the frog is opening into the excretory system. Why? Because there is only one common passage for both of them. That is the urinogenital duct. So because of that, it is going there. Finally, it communicates with the urinogenital duct that comes out of the kidneys and opens ultimately into the cloaca. Now, the cloaca is a small median chamber that is used to pass fecal matter, urine, and sperms to the exterior. One common passage. Talking about the female reproductive organs, it includes a pair of ovaries, The ovaries are situated near kidneys and there is no functional connection with kidneys. They are just situated there because they do not have to form the urinogenital duct. Now, a pair of oviduct arising from the ovaries opens into the cloaca separately. A mature female can lay 2,500 to 3,000 ova at a time. Fertilization is external and takes place in the water. Development involves a larval stage that is known as tadpole. Tadpole undergoes metamorphosis to form the adult. Metamorphosis means change of like change of organs, change of shape in a stages form to ultimately reach to the adult stage. Also, tell me one more thing. This phenomena of having a larval stage in the development, this makes the development of what kind? What is this kind of development known as?
Indirect.
Very good. Indirect. Moving forward, frogs are beneficial for mankind because they eat insects and protect the crop. Frogs maintain ecological balance because they serve as an important link of food chain and food web in the ecosystem. In some countries, the muscular legs of frog are used as food by man. So they have a little significance or ecological importance or economic importance as well. Now tell me, do you people have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now do one thing. Take 2 minutes. Okay, and just go through the chapter. You people have your books?
Yes.
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
go, yeah, just go through the chapter and see if there is anything that you are not understanding and ask me. Because the chapter is over, I'm going to start a new chapter only. So let's take 5 minutes. You can read the lines, okay? And then we'll start a new chapter today, okay? See if you have any doubts, you can ask me.
No doubt.
No doubt you've read the chapter. Give the topics a quick read, okay? For 5 minutes, like read the topic. See if maybe there is something जो नहीं समझ में आया जिस पे अटक जाओ, you can ask. Any doubts? No, ma'am. Oh, all right. So we are done with this particular chapter.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Listen, students. Do one thing. See, as the classes end. Okay. After it, do you people start like read the NCERT or not? Hmm? Do you? NCERT पढ़ते हो क्लास के बाद? Yes or no? क्या इस खामोशी को
इमीडिएटली
मैं ना
बात तो नहीं, बट पढ़ते तो है।
पढ़ते हो ना? क्योंकि पढ़ते हो तभी फायदा होगा और else कोई फायदा नहीं है फिर तो, है ना? क्योंकि जैसे राइट नाउ आई हैव टॉट यू द होल चैप्टर, तो अभी इफ आई आस्क यू एनी क्वेश्चन सो इट विल बी इजियर फॉर यू टू आंसर, क्योंकि अभी एकदम फ्रेश है, राइट? बट इफ यू लीव इट लाइक दिस फॉर इवन लाइक अ सिंगल डे, तब दिक्कत होने लगेगी, बिकॉज यू विल बी हैविंग अ हार्ड टाइम रिकॉलिंग स्टफ, एंड सिंस राइट नाउ इट इज फ्रेश, तो यू कैन जस्ट क्विकली skim through your book and वो पक्का हो जाता है फिर वहाँ पे. That is why I ask you repeatedly to read the NCERT as soon as the class is over, because बहुत beneficial होता है. Anyway, moving forward, let's start a new chapter, that is cell cycle and cell division. Okay. So again, this chapter very sweet chapter. It is very nice chapter, very easy, very friendly. Won't give you a hard time at all. Okay. Okay. Talking about the cell cycle. Now, cell division is a very important process in all living organisms. During the division of a cell, DNA replication and cell growth also takes place simultaneously. All these processes, that is cell division, DNA replication, and cell growth, all of them have to be in a coordinated way to ensure correct division and formation of progeny cells containing intact genome. The sequence of events by which a cell duplicates its genome. What is a genome, girls? Hmm? What is a genome?
Genetic material.
Very good. Synthesizes the other constituents of the cell and eventually divides into two daughter cells. And this whole entire thing is known as the cell cycle, which is what we are going to study. Now, although cell growth in terms of cytoplasmic increase, meaning if the cell was like this, now it became like this. Now, this is a continuous process. DNA synthesis only occurs during one specific stage in the cell cycle. The replicated chromosomes, meaning the DNA, are then distributed to the daughter nuclei by a complex series of events during cell division. Now, these events are themselves under genetic control. So, this is the reason. And see, in the whole entire cell cycle, DNA replication will happen only once. Okay. Now, moving forward, let us talk about the phases of cell cycle. A typical eukaryotic cell cycle is illustrated by human cells in culture. What is a eukaryotic cell?
It's a cell which has nucleus.
Nucleus is there. Okay. A membrane bound nucleus. Don't just say nucleus. Okay. Membrane bound nucleus is there. And cell organelles as well. Now, these eukaryotic cells divide once in approximately every 24 hours. However, this duration of cell cycle can vary from organism to organism and also from cell type to cell type. Yeast. Yeast is what? Yeast क्या होता है?
Unicellular eukaryote.
Unicellular.
Eukaryote.
Okay, be more specific. Yes, it is a unicellular eukaryote. You are right. अब थोड़ा सा और specific हो. कौन से kingdom को belong करता है ये? Kingdom.
Fungi.
Fungi.
Very good. So it is a unicellular fungi, isn't it? Scientific name क्या है yeast का?
Saccharomyces cerevisiae.
Very good. Where is it used?
Baking.
Very good. Now, so yeast can actually perform the whole cell cycle in about 90 minutes. Now, the whole entire cell cycle is divided into two basic phases. There is the interphase and then there is the M phase, which is the mitosis phase. The M phase represents the phase when the actual cell division or mitosis occurs, and the interphase represents the phase when between the two successive M phase. So if first M phase happened, then there will be an interphase and then there will be the next M phase. It is significant to note that in the 24 hours average duration of cell cycle of a human cell, cell division proper lasts for only about an hour. The interphase lasts for more than 95% of the duration of cell cycle. So the majority is for the interphase. Now, the M phase starts with the nuclear division corresponding to the separation of daughter chromosome, meaning the division of nucleus is known as karyokinesis, and then this karyokinesis will be followed by the division of cytoplasm, which is known as cytokinesis. The interphase, though called the resting phase, it is the time during which the cell is preparing for division by undergoing both cell growth and DNA replication in an orderly manner. The interphase is divided into three further phases. Interphase now. G1, that is gap 1, S phase, that is synthesis phase, and G2, that is gap 2 phase. Now, G1, S, G2. This will be the sequence. You cannot change the sequence. This is how it happens. Now, G1 phase corresponds to the interval between the mitosis and initiation of DNA replication. During the G1 phase, the cell is metabolically active and continuously grows but does not replicate its DNA. The cell growth happens in the G1 phase, but replication of DNA, meaning the making of DNA copy, that does not take place. The S or synthesis phase marks the period during which DNA synthesis or replication takes place. During this time, the amount of DNA per cell doubles. The amount of DNA would increase. Now, if the initial amount of DNA is denoted as 2C, then it will increase to 4C. But always remember this thing as a rule that the chromosome will not increase in number. Only the DNA will. However, there is no increase the chromosome number, meaning if the cell had diploid, meaning the 2n number, even after the S phase, it will stay 2n. DNA will increase, chromosome will not. Now, in animal cells, during the S phase, DNA replication begins in the nucleus and the centriole duplicates in the cytoplasm. Tell me one thing. Is the centriole present in plants?
No.
Is the centriole membrane bound? Yes or no?
No.
Hmm? Centrioles do not have any membrane surrounding them. Now, during the G2 phase, proteins are synthesized in preparation for mitosis while cell growth continues. Some cells in the adult animals do not appear to exhibit division, such as the heart cells. Heart cells do not divide, and there are many other cells as well. So what they do, these cells that do not divide further, they exit the G1 phase to enter an inactive stage that is known as the quiescent stage, G0 of the cell cycle. Cells in this stage remain metabolically active but no longer proliferate unless called on to do so. Okay. Now, depending upon the organism, like what the organism needs and it requires for that particular moment, then only these cells would divide. In animals, mitotic cell division is only seen in the diploid somatic cells. However, there are few exceptions to this where haploid cells divide by mitosis. For example, in the case of male honeybees, always the mitosis will take place in 2N. Against this, the plants can show mitotic divisions in both the haploid as well as the diploid cells. Moving forward, let us talk about the M phase, that is the mitosis phase. Now, this is the one wherein the actual division of the nucleus will happen. This is the most dramatic period of the cell cycle, involving a major reorganization of virtually all components of the cell. Since the number of chromosomes in the parent and progeny cells is the same, it is also called as equational division, meaning if the parent was 2N, the offspring that is formed will also be 2N. So it is equational division. Though for convenience, mitotic division or mitosis has been divided into 4 stages, and it is essential to understand that there is no clear-cut line. It happens, everything happens simultaneously, but for the sake of our studying, for understanding, the M phase or the mitosis has been divided into further 4 stages: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Now, prophase, which is the first stage of karyokinesis, follows the it comes after the S and the G2 phase of the interphase. In the S and G2 phases, the new DNA molecules formed are not distinct but intertwined. Prophase is marked by initiation of condensation of chromosomal material, meaning initially it is like this. No one can make out where it starts, where it ends. So during this prophase, this actually gets like the whole process of condensation happens so that chromosomes can be seen, so that we can see the chromosomes clearly. So the prophase happens. Now the chromosomal material becomes untangled during the process of chromatin condensation in prophase. The centrosome, which had undergone duplication during S phase of interphase, now begins to move towards opposite poles of the cell. The completion of prophase can thus be marked by following characteristic events. Let's see what happens. So, chromosomal material condenses to form compact mitotic chromosomes. Chromosomes are seen to be composed of 2 chromatids attached together at the centromere. 2 chromatids attached towards at the centromere. Do you people remember from the cell chapter, what is that disc-shaped thing known as? Hello, am I audible? क्या नाम है उसका? The disc-like structure is known as what?
Kinetochore.
Kinetochore. Very good. Okay, centrosome, which had undergone duplication during interphase, begins to move towards opposite poles of the cell. Each centrosome radiates out microtubules, which are known as asters. The two asters together with the spindle fibers forms the mitotic apparatus. This is coming from the centrosome. Cells at the end of the prophase, when viewed under the microscope, do not show Golgi complexes, endoplasmic reticulum, nucleolus, and nuclear envelope. So when the prophase is completed, at the end of the prophase, you will not see the cell organelles, you will not see the nuclear membrane. So the nuclear membrane, it gets disintegrated. Then after this thing, see another thing, the word pro means first. Phase is the stage. So first stage of mitosis is prophase. Then there is metaphase. The word meta means second. The phase means stage. So the second phase of the mitosis is metaphase. The complete disintegration of the nuclear envelope marks the start of the second phase of mitosis. Hence, the chromosomes are spread throughout the cytoplasm, because if the nuclear membrane will be removed, then the chromosome will be free. So they will be present in the cell only. Now, by this stage, condensation of chromosome is complete, meaning untangling is complete, detangling actually, and they can be observed clearly under the microscope. This then is the stage at which morphology of chromosome is most easily studied. So a question like this can come in the exam. Like which stage is the perfect stage to study the morphology of chromosome? So you should know that is the metaphase. Now at this stage, metaphase chromosomes is made up of two sister chromatids which are held together by the centromere. Small dish-shaped structures, they are the kinetochores. Now, these structures serve as the site of attachment of spindle fibers formed by the spindle fiber, meaning when the spindle fibers would come, they would come and attach to the kinetochore only. It is sort of, imagine it like a hook, so that the chromosomes can actually be moved. Now, hence, the metaphase is characterized by all the chromosomes coming to lie at the equator with one chromatid of each chromosome connected by its kinetochore to spindle fibers from one pole and its sister chromatid connected by its kinetochore to the spindle fibers from the opposite pole. Just like this, how it is happening. See, this is one pole, this is another pole. Now, the kinetochores are being attached by the spindle fibers. The plane of alignment of the chromosomes at the metaphase. See, all of the spindle fibers, they attach onto the kinetochore so that the chromosomes can be brought to the equatorial region. And this forms the equatorial plate, which is known as metaphase plate. Let us see what are the key features of metaphase. So first is spindle fibers attached to the kinetochores of chromosome. Chromosomes are moved to spindle equator and get aligned along metaphase plate through spindle fibers to both the poles. So, bringing the chromosomes to the equator is what happens in the metaphase. Any doubts? Up till now, up till metaphase, is everything clear? Hmm? Is it clear? Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself.
Okay, okay. Is the whole thing clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. Let us wait. Iram, I don't know if she got disconnected. I'm just waiting for her. Okay, let's move forward only. Now talking about the anaphase. Prophase and metaphase, you gonna clear it?
जी मैम.
Any doubts?
No मैम.
Okay. Moving forward, talking about anaphase. Now see, ana means up. Ana means up, phase means the stage. Now at the onset of anaphase, each chromosome arranged at the metaphase plate is split simultaneously, and the two daughter chromatids, now referred to as daughter chromosomes of the future daughter nuclei, begin their migration. For example, this was the centromere, and this was the chromatid, right? Now, when they're arranged at the equator, now they'll start moving towards the opposite pole, due to which splitting would happen. So one would go this side and the other would go that side. This is what happens during the anaphase, and that is why it is known as, like, ana means up. Now, as each chromosome moves away from the equatorial plate, the centromere of each chromosome remains directed towards the pole and hence at the leading edge, with the arms of the chromosome trailing behind, sort of like this. The centromere will be leading, the arms would be behind, and it will go like this. Thus, anaphase stage is characterized by the following events: centromeres split and chromatids separate. Chromatids move to the opposite poles. Now, after that, there is the last stage, that is the telophase. Now, at the beginning of the final stage of karyokinesis, that is telophase. Telo means end. Now, the chromosomes, what happens is that the chromosomes that have reached their respective poles decondense and lose their individuality. The individual chromosomes can no longer be seen, and each set of chromatin material tends to collect at each of the poles. Now, half is here, half is there, and then decondensation happens. Just say initially it was a wall of wool. Wall of wool, what am I saying? Ball of wool. So that happens at the poles. So let us see what are the key events that take place. So the chromosomes cluster at opposite spindle poles and their identity is lost as discrete elements. Nuclear envelope develops around the chromosome, clusters at each pole forming two daughter nuclei. Nucleolus, Golgi, ER, everything that disappeared at prophase now is back. So this is telophase, that is the last phase of mitosis. Coming on to the cytokinesis. As I told you, the karyokinesis have to be followed by cytokinesis. So now the cytokinesis, meaning the division of the cytoplasm, will happen. And by that, the cell will divide whole entirely. So mitosis accomplishes not only the segregation of duplicated chromosomes into daughter nuclei, that is the karyokinesis, but the cell itself is divided into two daughter cells by the separation of cytoplasm called cytokinesis, at the end of which cell division gets completed. Cell division will only get completed when the cytokinesis has been done. We'll complete mitosis and then I'll leave, okay? Because it will be too much for one class, and then we'll start meiosis in the next class. Okay? है ना, अभी capacity बच रही है ना to take in more, or shall I stop? I can stop here also if you want. Are you able to take up?
Stop.
चलो ठीक है, we'll do cytokinesis in the next class. अब जा नहीं रहा ना दिमाग में.